All right, well, if you remember a few years ago, we did a video that's one of the most watched videos that we have here on the Sportscasters Club YouTube program. And it was called 13 Words a Sportscaster Should Never Use. And it was a lot of fun because it had a lot of the cliches that you see, the words that people use not only on TV and radio, but across your regular everyday life. And I had a lot of feedback from that video because people heard those words and they said, you know what, I hear that all the time and it's a cliche and it annoys the heck out of me. And we talked about those words that not only broadcasters shouldn't use because it makes you seem like just another robot when you use those cliches, but also a lot of people watched that video and figured, if I'm not going to use that word in my broadcasting life, then I'm certainly not going to use it in my daily life. And the problem with that video, which I'm going to link at the end here, trust me, I'm going to link it, so don't worry. But the problem with that video is if you watched it, then you became kind of anal like me, because every time you heard that word, you just want, it was like fingers down a chalkboard. And just to give you a little taste of what that video was, one of the words that we said you should never use because it was such a cliche, one of those words was right. And how many times do you hear that? Where you'll have an interview guest and they'll say, well, you know, our fourth quarter earnings were solid, right? And we really did what we needed to do during that quarter, right? And why are you saying right? That self-affirmation word that does nothing. It actually makes you sound arrogant and obnoxious, if you ask me. And a lot of people that have watched that video or talked to us about that, they feel the same way. So that was one of the words from that first video. And if you haven't seen that one, check it out. I'm going to link it at the end here, but it was done a few years ago here on the Sportscasters Club YouTube show. Take a look. But today we're going to talk about more words that you should not use. In fact, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 more words that you should not say if you're a sportscaster or just in your regular everyday life. You should not use these words. And when you hear them, you're going to laugh and you're going to say, I hear that word all the time. My neighbor says it. My best friend says it. My spouse says that word. People at work use those words, and you don't want to use them. So let's have some fun. Let's get into this. But before you do me a quick favor. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. That way you'll get our next video. And who knows, maybe the one that shows up will be that video from a few years ago. So let's talk about the first of these 7 new words that you should not use. And they might be words or they might be phrases. The first one, I just heard it this morning watching a YouTube interview. I mean. So the interviewer was asking a question, and the way that the guest answered was, I mean, I thought we were in a real good place to win. I thought we were playing well. How many times do you hear that? Where the first thing the guest says is, I mean, well, of course you mean. If you're the one answering, you're the one giving your opinion, of course you mean. Otherwise, you wouldn't say it. So think about that. What purpose does that phrase, I mean, what does it serve? And by the way, when I do these videos, I oftentimes make these mistakes myself. This is not to say that you're a terrible person, you're a horrible broadcaster, you're just a lousy user of the English language if you use these words. But our goal here is to try to be as good as we can be, to be the best we can be. And so when we cut these words out and these phrases out, it makes us the best we can be. Doesn't mean we're ever going to be perfect. We're never going to be. But we want to aim for that. So the first word you shouldn't use is, the phrase is, I mean. So Rick, how'd the interview go today when you talked about the 7 words? I mean, I thought it went well. I thought it went great. Why don't I just say, it went well, it went great, it was fantastic. The audience was engaged, they were excited, they were enthused. That's the way I should answer that question. So, I mean, that's one that you need to cut out. So that's number 1 of 7. The second word, and this time it is a word, that you should not use as a sports broadcaster or in your daily life at least shouldn't use in this context. So. Well, Rick, what do you mean so? How many times do you hear an interview? The interviewer will say, how did you start playing the trumpet? So I always liked music, and it was something that I was interested in, and I thought it was a lot of fun. Or, how did you end up playing for the Green Bay Packers? So it all started in Pop Warner football when I was young. How many times do you hear that? You hear that word so at the beginning of an answer. Very similar to I mean. I think it's a way to maybe let your mouth catch up to your brain, and maybe that's subconscious, whether you use I mean or so to start your answer. It's almost like a way to delay a split second until you start having your thoughts proceed through your mouth. And it can be cut out because it serves no purpose. So, and it's interesting. I was recently at a college orientation with my daughter, and there was a panel of students up at the front, and they were asking them their experience at the school. And this one gentleman, I mean, I give these students a lot of credit to get up there and to talk in front of hundreds or thousands of people at this orientation. But every question he was asked, he started his answer with, so the school has been a great part of my life, or so I made a lot of friends here. So I really started to figure what I wanted to do with my life when I was here. As opposed to just saying, this school has been a big part of my life, or this community has been tremendous. You don't need to say that word so. So we're talking about these cliches, these crutch words that you can just get rid of because you don't need them. And so is one of those words. So.
If you're enjoying the show, check out our 7-hour online sports broadcasting course. We cover play-by-play, talk show hosting, television, and much more. Visit sportscastersclub.com and click on Online Sportscasting Class.
Already we've talked about two words, two phrases, I mean and so. So let's talk about number 3. Oh, this is a good one. I know you've heard this one a lot. You've probably heard this. Send me a message. Leave a message down below if you've heard this in the last 24 hours, if you've heard this phrase. I feel like. And usually, again, it's to an answer to a question. Rick, how do you like that new car you're driving? I feel like it's been smooth. It's been technologically advanced. It drives for me. It's awesome. Why not just say it's smooth, it's technologically advanced, it's the best car I've ever owned because it drives for me. I call it Jeeves. And you probably know what brand it is if you're up to date on technology and AI. But why do I need to put I feel like in front of it? So I hear this a lot in the business world, or you watch interviews on YouTube all the time. I feel like. What do you think about this coming year? Is it going to be a booming economy? I feel like we're in a great spot. I feel like the rolling recession is done, and we're going to start to come out of it and go into a rolling increase in GDP and a rolling. Why do I have to say I feel like? Of course I feel like. I'm the one giving the answer. It's not you feel like. It's me. You asked me the question, I'm answering it. So it's just a cliche to say, I feel like. And I hear it all the time. And I bet, leave me a comment. If you've heard it in the last 24 hours, I know you have. Let me know. And also like this video and subscribe to these videos. So we've talked about I mean, so, I feel like, and this is usually around the time of the broadcast and the video that people start saying, man, this Rick, he's really anal. He's really a crotchety old guy. I'm just trying to help you use language. I mean, the great Marty Glickman always used to say it, that words have meaning. And whenever you use a word, look at the broadcasters like Mike Breen or any of the really outstanding broadcasters. Their words have precision. Their words have meaning. and this is something you want to shoot for as a broadcaster and just as a regular, everyday human. Don't use these words and phrases. All right, so that we touched on 3. Oh, this is a good one. I've heard this cliche a lot, usually again in the interview setting. Well, Joe, that was a great answer. I want to double click on something you said. Now, obviously, the first time you heard it, you said, that's pretty clever. Double click, because you're going to drill deeper. You're going to unpack that. That's another cliche you hear a lot. Double click, unpack. How about just say, can you go a little deeper on that? Can you explain what you mean by that answer? Or let's dig deeper into that. I mean, that's a cliche right there. Let's talk more about that answer you just gave. That's fascinating, Joe. Let's discuss that more, because that answer is not one I've ever heard before. How about that kind of a follow-up rather than, let's double click on that. Let's unpack that. You hear them a lot. And if you use the words that you hear a lot, you're going to be just like all those other broadcasters that you hear out there. If that's your goal and you don't want to stand out, you don't want to be unique or original, then you should use these phrases. If you want to be unique, don't use them. Okay, double click. This one, it doesn't rise to the top of the level, but I've heard it a lot in the past few days, so I decided I had to include it in this video. Highly recommend. I highly recommend it. I heard this morning. I'm watching a YouTube video, and the interviewer, the owner of the channel, was introducing his guest. And he said, I highly recommend that you follow Cernbasher. I highly recommend. And I hear that a lot, whether it's about a product, about a book, about something you need to learn more about a person you should follow on social media, about something, a product or something you should incorporate into your daily life, whether it's health or your sleep routine or any of that. I highly recommend you get this blanket because it's going to keep you so cozy warm. Highly recommend. I hear that one all the time. Okay. Two more. The last one might make you hungry. I know it's going to make me hungry, so you want to stay tuned for the last one. But this is the penultimate phrase we're going to talk about today that you should not use as a sports broadcaster. Game changer. You hear it all the time, and it's lost its value, completely lost its value, because you hear someone talking about, whenever you're just online or on YouTube or something, you see all these products. This hiking stick, it's a game changer. Oh, these pair of slippers, it's a game changer. These hubcaps that I just got, game changers. Oh, this new cell phone cover, it's a game changer. Come on. How much of a game changer is a cell phone cover going to be? So don't use a word or a phrase if what you're talking about doesn't match what you're saying. That happens in play-by-play broadcasting a lot too. We always talk about when you're doing play-by-play, you always want to leave your voice another octave to go up to, because you never know what's going to happen next. So some broadcasters, an amateur for example, might start calling a play, it automatically goes to 10 on the scale of intensity and screaming and yelling, but then they leave themselves no room. So let's say there's an interception and they go to 10, and then the safety who intercepted the ball fumbles it and it's recovered by someone else who runs it back the other way. Well, in that case, you want to be able to go up higher, but when you don't leave yourself that extra distance, then you're trapped and your voice isn't going to match the action, and it's going to be a play-by-play call that's certainly not as good as it could have been. So if you understand what I'm talking about, watch our previous play-by-play videos to learn more about that. But that's what I mean with game changer. When you say something is a game changer, it is up here. So don't use that to describe a cell phone cover, slippers, pillowcases, hubcaps. Use it to explain something like, These AI robots that now come in and take care of my elderly parent, that is a game changer. That is a game changer. Something to that magnitude. When I was able to quadruple my investment in 1 year, that was a game changer. Okay, you're talking about something that's way out of the ordinary, just to a level that's amazing. That's a game changer. Okay? So game changer. All right, the final of the words or phrases today that you should not use. This one, it's going to make you hungry. As soon as I click that button and turn this off, I might have to go make myself one. Okay. The word is nothing burger. You heard it a lot. I know you have. I know you have. Well, what did you think about that rumor that was circulating this week about so-and-so not playing? Well, it turned out to be a nothing burger. What does that really even mean? That's one I've not looked up. If you've looked it up, let me know what it means. Nothing burger? I love cheeseburgers. I love barbecue bacon cheeseburgers. I love blue cheeseburgers. I love burgers without cheese. I love all kinds of burgers, of all kinds. Bacon, tomato, lettuce. I like fast food burgers. I like grilled burgers. I like any kind of burger. But a nothing burger, it's just a cliche. It really means nothing. Everyone understands what you're saying when you say it. You're basically introducing something that is meaningless. But how about just saying that? Well, the rumor that he wasn't going to play this week turned out to be meaningless. That rumor turned out to be not true. So it didn't have any impact on the game this week. Do I sound smarter and more unique that way? Or do I sound smarter and more unique when I use the same phrases that every cookie cutter sportscaster uses? Nothing burger. And you'll see that a lot on YouTube. Doesn't have to be just sports. I don't think I've heard that one in regular life, though. All these others I've heard in real life. I've never heard nothing burger. Have you? In other areas of life? I haven't. Only on YouTube. So let's wrap it up. And again, after this video, check out the next one. The next one was the one actually we did 3 years ago, 13 words that a sportscaster should never use. And if you like this video, you're going to like that one. But just to recap, don't use these words and phrases. I mean, so, I feel like, double click, highly recommend, game changer, and nothing burger. Nothing burger. So now I am hungry. I've got to go make myself a nothing burger. I usually make it rather than ordering it because I like to make it. Sometimes I like to go out for it. Tell me how you like your nothing burgers. I like it medium well. So. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this video. 7 words and phrases you should not use as a sportscaster. Check us out at sportscastersclub.com. If you haven't liked this video, come on. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, really? I feel like that's not a wise move yet. I feel like you should subscribe. So I'm Rick. It's been a pleasure being with you today. Hope you found this fun. Hope you learned something. And until next time, see you later.